Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com, on Roku, Dwyer Boxing, and Sports News. Let's talk about Floyd Mayweather's final fight, final win over Andre Berto. Now let's put this in its proper perspective. Right? Mayweather is a great fighter. There's no question about it. He has put himself firmly in the conversation of the best ever, right? There are going to be other names in that conversation, right? Mayweather's accomplishments, as great as they aren't as historical as some of the people out there believe. First, let's talk about Rocky Marciano. Right? We're hearing that Mayweather tied Marciano's record. Understand that Marciano fought and beat in dramatic fashion by KO Joe Louis, the champion with the longest reign. Ezzard Charles, a man widely regarded as being one of the absolute best light heavyweights in history. Keep in mind, before you call him a light heavyweight, understand Ezzard Charles at heavyweight won the title and beat Joe Louis. Right? Understand, too, that Marciano beat Archie Moore. Again, if we're talking about the greatest light heavyweights in history, Archie Moore belongs on the list. And understand, apart from the first fight against Ezzard Charles, the judges weren't a factor in Rocky Marciano fights. Right? The three Hall of Fame guys I just named, all three of them lost by KO to Rocky Marciano. Now, the point is simply Mayweather's level of dominance, which did not take place at heavyweight, doesn't match Marciano's level of dominance. Right? The biggest names on the Mayweather resume. You know, Manny Pacquiao recently lost to Juan Manuel Marquez, didn't he? In fact, Manny Pacquiao had been on the losing end against Eric Morales earlier. Right? But keep in mind, during the era when Mayweather fights Pacquiao, Pacquiao had lost to Marquez, KO. Right? Not TKO, KO. Right? And he had lost to Timothy Bradley. Right? Is anyone here going to compare Manny Pacquiao to, let's say, someone like Archie Moore in the 1950s? Let's go one step further. Understand, Marciano's record is the championship level record at heavyweight. There are other heavyweights who won more in a row than Marciano. Brian Neilsen, look it up. Right? But Marciano's record mattered when Larry Holmes, another great champion, right, came within one of beating it. Right? Of matching it. Right? That's why Marciano was in the news at the end of Holmes's career. It wasn't because his streak was record-setting for any boxer in any weight class. Willie Pep won his first 62 fights. Right? Julio Cesar Chavez. You know, I saw his career. Julio Cesar Chavez won over 80 fights at the start of his career without a loss. Well, let me make another point, too. I don't know why we're all hot and bothered over the idea of the fact that this streak took place at the beginning of Mayweather's career. Because we know some of the best fighters in history lost early in their careers, right? And then went on runs that far exceed 49-0, right? Carlos Monzon, look at his run. He loses 3 fights early. Once Monzon gets going, folks, it's over for the middleweight division, right? Sugar Ray Robinson, understand, he loses to Jake LaMotta, who outweighs him by several pounds. You don't have these kind of weight gaps today outside of the heavyweight division, right? After he loses that fight, look at the run he goes on. Again, he wins more than 49 in a row. So please, don't try to equate 49-0 in the heavyweight division with 49-0 in any other division, right? I don't believe they're comparable. I believe even mediocre heavyweights can knock you out. I'm not sure if I could say that about lightweights, super lightweights, right? Welterweights. So I'm impressed by Mayweather's record. It's great. But I'm not one of these people who really believes that it's unprecedented. It's not. Let me point out, too, Willie Pep, after he loses his 63rd fight, then goes on another streak. Right? So just food for thought. Let's shift gears. You know, I don't believe, no matter how big the name, I'm someone who really doesn't believe that too many people in life are geniuses. And even the geniuses you run across, and I've met a few geniuses, but even the geniuses you run across, they make mistakes. Now, let's change the format of this. You know how I feel Andre Berto should have fought against Mayweather, right? There's a video up. I believe I entitled it, How Andre Berto Can Beat Mayweather, right? You know the strategy I believed in, right? Standing around, staying in the middle of the ring, not trying to throw combinations, changing speeds, pot-shotting, right? Trying to set Mayweather up so you could land a big punch, right? Hiding your hands, not showing Mayweather a pattern, not giving Mayweather a combination he can counter. As I put it, power pot-shotting a pot-shotter. Right now, what I want YouTube Nation to do is to look at the actual strategy Andre Berto employed. Now, Berto's a smart man. His trainer, Virgil Hunter, is a smart man. Tell us, the YouTube community, whether you agree with what they were doing. Right? Simply put, I can hardly imagine a worse game plan for any opponent against Floyd Mayweather. Right? And with this opponent, it was particularly disappointing because this guy actually has ring coverage. He actually has hand speed. He actually has legs. The strategy, it looked to me, and disagree with me, please, if you do disagree. The strategy Berto had was to try to bum rush Floyd Mayweather. Right? This strategy was the strategy countless Mayweather victims have had. Mayweather didn't have to go looking for Berto. Right? Mayweather didn't have to use his late 30s legs to find Berto. Mayweather, a counterpuncher, knew that Berto was going to be right in front of him. Mayweather didn't even have to leave the ropes. because Berto was trying to rush over to try to pin Mayweather on the ropes. You want to know how dumb this strategy was? Mayweather landed in a sport where if you crack 40% on this metric, you've had a phenomenal fight. Mayweather landed 2/3 of his power shots. 2/3 of his power shots. The only reason Andre Berto doesn't get knocked out is because Mayweather has hand problems, which I suspect will keep him out of the ring for good. Mayweather has hand problems, right? But trust me, Mayweather's landing flush on Andre Berto. It was comical. You were looking at Berto and you were wondering, wow, didn't Andre Berto see the Ricky Hatton fight? You were watching this fight and you thought, wow, when is an opponent against Floyd Mayweather actually going to force Mayweather to find them? You were looking at this fight and you were thinking, okay, was Berto so inspired by Marcus Maidana that he thought this strategy would work? Folks, you don't want Mayweather resting on the ropes. You don't want Mayweather able to know that you're there to be countered. It was baffling. Let me tell you who had a great night. Much better night than Andre Berto. Perhaps a better night than Floyd Mayweather. If anyone could be considered as having a better night than a guy who lands 2/3 of his power punches. More than 50% of all the punches he threw. And that was the announcer, Paulie Malignaggi. I believe Malignaggi was as dumbfounded as the rest of us. First, Berto isn't even trying to hide his hand speed. Look, Mayweather knows Berto has hand speed. Berto knows he has hand speed. But the guys with hand speed who know how to use it will wait for opportunities in fights before they flash it. Right here, Berto's throwing everything at the same speed. There's no subtlety to his game. He's fighting a guy who's adaptive reactive. In other words, Mayweather's reading you. Mayweather learns quickly. By the 4th round, he knows as much about your fight game as your parents do. Right? So, a strategist, in my opinion, like a Bernard Hopkins, would pretend to be someone else during those early rounds. You might be able to throw a straight right hand quickly. But why show how quickly you can throw it up front? Right? Even in baseball, don't pitchers with great fastballs usually have other pitches? Changeup, curve. In other words, they're waiting for strategic moments in the count to come in at 95 miles an hour. Right? Because everyone understands if it's all fastballs at the elite level, sooner or later a Barry Bonds is going to say, oh, I got this time. Please, throw me another fastball. It could be 95, it could be 98. You've thrown so many at 95 or 98 that I now have the timing. Malignaggi points out that Berto's not altering the timing. Berto's coming in with the same routine every time. That's why he's so predictable. Mayweather solves the puzzle, and folks, the Compubox numbers are crazy. Understand, some great fighters you've watched in their primes have never approached the Compubox numbers Mayweather throws down in what is his last fight. They go to the corner. I know Virgil Hunter is a thinking man's trainer. He trains guys like Andre Ward, a thinking man's fighter. I'm listening, and keep in mind, by the way, what Virgil Hunter says is very important because Hunter also happens to be Amir Khan's trainer. Right? Understanding all the hoopla about Floyd Mayweather deciding not to fight Khan, overlooked by the press, was the fact that Mayweather was so impressed with Virgil Hunter that he decided to fight another Virgil Hunter fighter. Think about that. Right? Mayweather decides, okay, Khan's running off too much at the mouth. What other opportunity can I have here? Oh, let me just pick another Virgil Hunter fighter. Think about it. So Virgil Hunter's in the corner, and Virgil Hunter is giving Andre Berto advice that was head-scratching. If you have a film of this fight, I encourage you to listen to what Virgil Hunter was saying. Right? Virgil Hunter is telling his fighter that Mayweather, who is literally at really a near record pace, right, landing 2/3 of power shots. Hunter wanted his fighter to believe that Mayweather was tired, that Mayweather had nothing left, that if Andre just rushed in there faster, Mayweather would wilt. Now, I don't know. Maybe some sweat got on Virgil Hunter's glasses. I don't know. Maybe Hunter, has had some vision problems or something like that. What fight was he watching? Right? Seemed to me that Mayweather's punches were just bouncing off Berto's head. Seemed to me that when Berto got over to the corner, he got the worst of it. Why is he chasing Mayweather over to the corner? I mean, don't we all know that's where Mayweather wanted to be against Marcus Maidana? Guys, if you're fighting a guy in his late 30s and you feel that that guy might have stamina issues, why not keep him in the middle of the ring? Didn't Berto watch the Manny Pacquiao film? Don't you know that Mayweather wants you to bum rush him so he could step to the side, get off shots, step to the side, get off shots? I mean, isn't that what happened in this fight? So to YouTube Nation, let's be the trainer in the corner, right? Let me just say, too, I just want to be clear here. I think Virgil Hunter is an excellent trainer. I believe he and Berto had a major off night. Right? The strategy here seemed ridiculous to me. Right? Berto, keep in mind, for Mayweather to win rounds, he also has to land punches. Right? You know from distance, Mayweather likes to throw a left hook up top or a straight right hand. Right? Or a jab. Right? You know Mayweather likes to, from distance, when he's trying to hit your body, throw a jab down to the body. You know, what I want people to do, go back and look at Lennox Lewis against Razor Ruddock. Lewis knew Ruddock liked to lean forward and throw a punch low. So Lewis is hanging outside. He's waiting in the wings. By the way, Lewis is a guy with a punch. Understand, he's not hanging outside because he's afraid to mix it up. No. Lewis likes mixing it up. Look at the Lewis-Andrew Galata fight. Right? Lewis was a guy who welcomed the opportunity to mix it up. But against Razor Ruddock, who had a punch, Lewis is outside just waiting for the opportunity. It's when Ruddock reaches down for his stomach, just like Mayweather is doing early against Berto, that Lennox Lewis goes for broke. Comes in with a power shot. ends that fight. Right now, all I'm saying is, Andre Berto, what are you doing? You don't run at a counterpuncher? What's that about? Right? You don't. No, I understand boxing has certain rules, right? You don't chase a puncher and all this other stuff. But look, all I'm saying here is, we know Mayweather's an optical illusion. Countless guys show up in the ring, they look at Mayweather, right? These guys have all gained 10 pounds between the weigh-in and the fight. They look at Mayweather, who looks like he's the same weight he was at the weigh-in. And they say, I'm the bigger man. I can boss this guy around. I can come in. I can rough this guy up against the ropes. How many fights does it take for the boxing community to realize that that's an optical illusion? That as you're trying to bully this guy over by the ropes, this guy is countering you to the point where he's landing 2/3 of his power shots. Right? This guy's banking the rounds. Folks, I stopped scoring this fight early. Right? At the 6th round mark, they go to Steve Farhood. And they say, Steve, how do you have it? And Farhood says, oh, I have it 6 rounds to none. 6 rounds to none for Floyd Mayweather. Now, if you watch Mayweather fights, you know the best time to make inroads on Mayweather is early. Right? Think Zab Judah. Think Shane Mosley. Right? That's your best opportunity. Think Manny Pacquiao. It's early in fights, before Mayweather finishes reading your book, that you have your best opportunity against Floyd. You knew when they got to the 6th round mark, halfway through the fight, and Berto had yet to register a single round on Steve Farhood's card. Right? And you knew, just looking at your own eyes, thinking, man, Mayweather's dominating this guy. What's Berto doing? When's Berto going to mix it up? Right? You understood. Andre Berto had no chance. Let me tell you how bad it is, too. Floyd's supposed to be exhausted. He's supposed to be trying to get breathers and all this other stuff. There are countless interviews of Virgil Hunter here online talking about Floyd. Floyd's so exhausted that at the end of the 12th round, Mayweather runs around the ring. This is wild time still on the clock, folks. Look at the last 10 seconds of this fight. Mayweather easily moves away from Berto. Easily. Runs around the ring. Looks kind of like Purnell at the end of the Chavez masterpiece that he got a draw on. Right? Mayweather just moves away from Andre Berto. Mayweather still has his legs. Right? You got the feeling if Mayweather needed to go another 3 rounds against Andre Berto, he would have gone another 3 rounds against Andre Berto. You want to know who's fading at the end of this fight? It's not Floyd. It's the guy who's been hit with 2/3 of the power punches that Floyd has thrown. So YouTube Nation, tell us how Andre Berto could have done this differently. Right? Just go ahead and lay out the case. Let me even do something I do on my crime channel, something I've done here, but no one's taken me up on it. If you want to email me your own video of how, if you were advising Andre Berto, you would have told Berto to fight Mayweather, go ahead and email it to me at dwyer@richarddwyer.com. Again, that's dwyer@richarddwyer.com. Right? Email me the video. As long as it doesn't have any cursing, any nudity, any completely idiotic and tasteless remark. Right? Racism and stuff like that. Right? As long as it doesn't have any of that, I'll post it here on my account, unedited. If you have your own YouTube account here, you can even pub it in the video. Okay, go ahead and email it to me and I'll post it here online, unedited. Okay? Let me hear from you. That's how I saw this fight. If there are any of you who actually believe in the strategy Berto was trying to do, I hope you leave those comments as well, or send me a video on those comments. Thanks for stopping by.